Free Kuriga students make shocking revelations. They narrate how bandits murdered their teacher, how they were treated, how they trekked in Forest to Zamfara in 14 hours. They said some of them escaped back home after 4 days in the bush, and 60 others also escaped. There was jubilation in the entire Kuriga community, with parents expressing their feelings amid tears of joy and intermittent cry of sadness over the death of a kidnapped teacher, Abubakar Isa, who died in captivity before the very eyes of the students, including his own son. However, out of excitement and satisfaction of the efforts made by the federal and state governments to rescue the school children, and in consideration of current beefed up security in the community, parents said they have resolved to allow their children complete their primary and secondary schools education in Kuriga town against their earlier contemplation of relocating them to schools in other places. Some of the parents spoke to Sunday Sun one after the other, giving thanks to God and the government of the day for a job well done, emphasizing that we are going nowhere other than Kuriga. A parent, Amina Abubakar, said, and I quote, "I have children who are amongst those who were kidnapped. My children also include that of my junior sisters and brothers, as well as my neighbors' children. This is how we live in this village. Everybody's children are everybody's concerns. It is not only the children you give birth to that are only your children. Everybody's children are your own too in this village. We have relations, grandmothers, grandfathers, and grandchildren. We are all one united family. When we heard that our children have been freed, I was so happy, and I thank God for this marvelous work. May God bless President Bola Tinubu and Governor Uba Sani for facilitating the freedom of our children. Some weeks ago, we were crying over the abduction of our children. Today, we are laughing and rejoicing over their release. We will give full support for their education. We will not relocate them to another school now that we have soldiers and more security operatives in the village. But we have some requests to make to the government and those concerned that we need light and telecommunication services in this village. If there is no network services, it will be very difficult to reach out during emergency. We also need social welfare assistance." Idris Bala also said, and I quote, "We are praying to God to separate us from these bandits henceforth. We are grateful to God for releasing them to us. We are also grateful to the government for this great work of ensuring the freedom of our children. We will not relocate them to another school. We will stand by them until they finish their primary and secondary education in this village." Another one, Hawa Idris, said, "My daughter Fatih Isa was among those children kidnapped. She is 13 years old. I was full of sadness through the period she was in captivity. We are grateful to Governor Sani for bringing back our children to us. May God bless him. But we need more soldiers in the village so that our children can feel free to continue with education, because there is no way to go other than here for them to continue their education." Also, Barila Sanusi said, "As soon as we heard that our children have been freed, we became so excited. We thank those that rescued our children back home. My child, who was among those rescued, is by name Hassan Sanusi, 13 years old, and is in primary 1. He will continue his education here in Kuriga. We are not going anywhere because of the help and assistance given to us by the government. But we need light and network services." Nafisa Isa, the younger sister of the teacher that died in captivity, said, "Though I am sad, but I am happy that our children have been freed from the hands of the bandits. Our children will continue with education in this village. We are not relocating to anywhere. May God grant my elder brother, Abubakar Isa, eternal rest. May God forgive him all his shortcomings. His time on earth has ended. Either he was kidnapped or not, he would have still died on that day he died." Another also commented, "I have 5 children that were kidnapped. We thank God that they are back home safely. We thank God for this. We thank God the governor, and we thank God for the governor. We thank the governor, and we will vote for him if he contests again. We also thank President Bola Tinubu. May God bless all of them. We are grateful that security agencies are now in our village. We will not relocate our children to another village to go to school. They will complete education here in Kuriga by the grace of God." And Bala Musa said, I have one child among the victims that were rescued. He is 14 years old. Upon hearing about their freedom, I felt like I am in paradise. On the day that they were kidnapped, 25 of them escaped back home, and after 4 days in the bush, 60 of them escaped and returned home also. They all came back on their own as they got missing in the bush without bandits finding them. They will continue to go to school in Kuriga because there is enough security men around now. We thought we should relocate, but we are going nowhere. For Kabiru Musa, he said, I have one child among them. He's 18 years old. I am so happy that he is back home. I give thanks to God. I also thank the President and the Governor for this great work of bringing back our children. By the special grace of God, they will continue with the education in this village. Nobody is going anywhere. Shitu Abdullahi said, I am full of happiness that our children have returned home. I had sleepless nights throughout the day they were in the hands of the kidnappers. I thank both the federal and state government for ensuring the safety and freedom of our children. We will ensure that they continue with education in this village. No need for relocating them as some of the parents had earlier planned. There is enough security that our children can go to school freely. Also, some of the released school children narrated how they lived and survived in the forest. One of them, Jamila Sadiku, narrating amid tears and sobs how they were treated by bandits in the forest, said that she was happy that she was back home with her colleagues. Sadiku, an SS1 student, said amid tears, we were fed twice a day, morning and evening, and we were whipped regularly, especially when they saw you going to urinate. They whipped our teacher directly on his face. It was this kind of beating that made our teacher died. We trekked in the bush to Zamfara. We left Kaduna bush around 12 midnight and arrived Zamfara forest at 2 a.m. But those of us who could not trek were picked up by banks by our abductors. I am happy that I am back home. Now, this story is not adding up. They said these people were children. How did they know that they were in Zamfara? How did they know that they were in Kaduna? Because it's not, to me, it's not. So it is not adding up. How did they know? Because, oh God. The more I read it, the more like, okay, it is the children. Some questions need answers. How come no child spoke of the crossfire, gunshots, and the behavior of the bandit during the rescue operations? Which is the closest village to the battle area? Did the villagers hear the noise of war? My dear, they don't pay these people money. Forget all those things when they ask questions. You can deceive people for some time, but you cannot deceive all the people all the time. Now we see the light and we stand for our light. Deceptive government of night. I tell you, I am happy they came back, but they came out to say they were not going to be paying ransom to these bandits and kidnappers, because paying them is financing the activities, whether you like it or not, whether you want to play to the gallery or not. My own is that this story is not clear. Like I said, congratulations to those who were released and them reuniting with their families. Alright, on this note, we have come to the end of the news. We say thank you for tuning in to listen. Until I come your way next time. Enjoy the rest